They were mocked, left out, and laughed at. Some were humiliated in public. But years later, life flipped the script, and the people once made to feel small became impossible to ignore.
After that.
And what would you say to these bullies today, you know, if you saw them? Do you ever see them, any of them?
Or maybe they never had to fight. Or maybe they didn't have to understand what it feels like. No!
Room of his home. You almost died.
Yeah, definitely.
How close do you think you were to dying?
They said 2 hours.
So it was like, well, I know how to kill this boy, but you told me not.
Bish. Don't you remember the name of every kid who beat the shit?
I have a tampon.
Lip balm and a tampon and we get a fire going.
And a few of them, they actually got to face those people again. Not in a hallway, not in a classroom, but in places where the power had completely changed. This one is painfully awkward because Michael B. Jordan does not explode. He does something colder. He remembers. Laurel had already talked about their school days, and that corny kid comment was still hanging in the air.
Actor. I think that Michael B. Jordan is just like a nice, corny guy. And I don't mean that as a slight, right? I mean, we all know that the nice, corny guys treat you the best.
And that is what makes it sting. People laughed at him for taking his dream seriously. Years later, that same dream put him on the Creed 3 red carpet while everyone waited for his attention.
Fun of him.
To be honest with you, we teased him all the damn time because his name was Michael Jordan. Let's start there. And he was no Michael Jordan. And then he also would come to school with headshot. We lived in Newark.
Yeah.
Like that's the hood. You know what I mean? So we would make fun of him, like, what you gonna do with your little stupid headshots? Like, and now
Then she shows up with a microphone, and the mood changes instantly. He does not raise his voice. He just brings the comment back, calm and sharp, and lets the silence work.
And, you know, we know each other. We go way back all the way to Chad Science in Newark, okay?
Corny kid, right?
No, I did not say that. Misquote.
That look says everything. She tries to smooth it over, but he gives her nothing. Just one cold reminder that the kid they mocked became the man they had to interview.
No, you did not hear me say cry. I said we used to make fun of the name. But yeah, he is obviously killed.
That was a red carpet chill. The next one is darker, because this was not just someone being called names. This was a moment so cruel, it still hurts years later.
I don't care what people think of me, of what I do, or what I say, because maybe they weren't bullied.
Before the fame turned her into Lady Gaga, she was a girl people thought they could humiliate for fun. And the way she tells this story makes it clear that some old memories do not fade. They just get quieter.
I used to get really bullied in school. I was just thinking the other day about some of the things that happened to me, and I remember one time I got thrown in the trash.
The audience reacts because everyone understands the feeling behind it.Maybe not the same moment, but the same sting. Being laughed at when you are already hurt is a special kind of cruel.
Yeah, I went to the pizzeria around the corner, and you know, it was meant to be a joke, right? But these guys that some of my friends were friends with were also friends with these other girls who didn't really like me very much. So the guys were like, let me put you in the trash where you belong.
And she does not turn it into a perfect little lesson right away. That is why it lands. She lets the shame, the shock, and the old pain sit there long enough for everyone to feel it.
So they picked me up in my school skirt, and they put me in the trash. And I remember I was looking up at them, and I was trying to laugh. You know, like, you know, to act like it didn't bother me because I didn't want to show a sign of weakness, when really I was holding back the tears so hard because I was so embarrassed that I was in the trash can.
The story flips hard. The girl they tried to make invisible became impossible to ignore, while the people who laughed could only watch her take over the world.
That I am living proof that if anyone's ever put you in a fucking trash can, you can always get the fuck out. Or maybe they didn't grow up like we did, or maybe they never had to fight, or maybe they didn't have to understand what it feels like. No pain! Keep going!
That was pain turned into a spotlight. But the next story is even messier, because this time, the person from the past did not stay in the past. She showed up again.
Grateful for everything that you've been doing about bullying, because it is...
This one has a different weight, because Minnie Driver is not describing a few mean jokes. She is talking about the kind of fear your body remembers before your brain even catches up.
I think I link it in because when I think about my son, when I think about he is about to start his journey at school, and he's, in a year or so, and I think about my own experiences with having been bullied, and it is so important that we...
That is what makes it hit. People think bullying ends when school ends, but sometimes it follows you into adulthood, not as a person, as a feeling, a chill, a reaction you never asked to keep.
And you were bullied for what reason?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I remember this new girl arrived when I was like 9 years old, completely happy at my school, very confident, and for whatever reason, she just decided that she needed to take me down, and she, for the next 5 years, just every single day, repeatedly, it was just abusive.
Then she gets to the moment where something finally changes. She does not frame it as some perfect hero scene. It sounds more like survival. One day, she stopped being the easy target.
Very oddly, and while I would never advocate any kind of violence at all, but it really wasn't until I finally realized that I could fight back, and I literally smacked her, and it never happened.
But the real twist comes much later. A party, a normal adult setting, smiles, families, small talk. Then suddenly, the person who once made her feel powerless is standing right there.
I ran into her at a party quite by chance a few years ago, and she was there with her husband and her kids, and I got the same kind of chills.
And instead of swallowing it, she asks the question most people carry for years. Why? The answer is not clean, and that is what makes it so uncomfortable. The bully was trying to crush something bright, because something in her had already been crushed first.
And after a while and a couple of drinks, I went over to her and I was like, can I just ask you? I was like, do you remember everything that went on, right? And she was like, yeah, school was great. And I was like, no, just the systematic and repeated bullying that you inflicted on me. And her face went white and she looked like she was going to throw up or burst into tears. And I said, why did you do it? With no animosity at all, as a grown-up person. And she said, it was my identity. I was frightened of who you were, creative and loud and sort of gregarious. And my identity became stopping that and shutting that down in you because it was shut down in me. And the minute I realized that her, she was as, in a way, as damaged.
That answer sits strangely. It is not forgiveness, and it is not revenge. Just an adult truth landing on an old wound. But the next moment needs no explanation at all.
A white school. And you have this childhood trauma that you haven't dealt with.
This is one of the sharpest power shifts in the whole video. Once, Chris Rock was the kid being terrorized. Years later, he walks onto a movie set as the star, and one of those same people is working security.
That was just a horrible existence. The closest character I can relate to is Tim Robbins in The Shawshank. Every day was hell. I was a nigga, and I got fucking my ass beat, and I got physically fucked up, and sometimes some sexual shit happened, and yeah, like, I wasn't raped, but rape.
The irony is almost too perfect. The person who once made him feel small was now standing on his set, watching him work. Chris did not need to point it out. Life had already done the talking.
That of you.
I was doing a movie a couple of years ago, and one of my bullies was working security on the movie.
Shit.
A guy who literally one day in school turned me upside down and shook the money out of my pocket.
And the best part is what he did not do. He did not flex. He did not humiliate him. He did not turn the set into payback. He just saw the shame, gave him a look, and kept moving.
I'm filming a scene. This is a top 5. And I look and I'm like, is that B? I'll just say B. And he nodded. And I just gave him just a quick look like, hey man, I hope you're doing well. You take care. And I kept it moving. I didn't like, get him off the set, get him fired. It's like, his sin has punished him. He could have been my friend.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he could have been in the trailer with us watching The Godfather. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that he had to go through that whole day and watch me walk around and watch.
That is the quietest kind of win. No speech, no revenge scene, just success standing face to face with someone who once thought they had power over you. Sometimes silence is the sharpest line.
And watch me be me in all my glory, and to be so close to me, but yet so motherfucking far.
Right. You got your revenge. Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything. You ever watch Bugs Bunny? Bugs
all the
Bunny.
time.
When did Elmer Fudd get really mad at Bugs Bunny? Not when he shot him in the face with an anvil. Not when he hit him over the head with a rock. You know when Elmer Fudd got really mad? When Bugs Bunny kissed him.
Yeah, that's
changed. And when somebody like does you wrong, just give them.
That was ice cold silence. But the next story cuts differently. A cruel nickname, a lonely school, and a future superhero who chose understanding over bitterness.
And what Superman is, and you go, "What, Mummy? Why is he wearing his underwear on the outside?"
And they're going to want them where they're.
Long before the cape and the movie posters, Henry Cavill had a nickname thrown at him that was made to hurt. It sounds childish now, but when you are young, the wrong words can follow you everywhere.
Did they bully you at school? Did they call you fatty those way back when?
Fat Cavill was the actual name. But you know what? I was fat, and my name was still Cavill then, so it was a fairly fitting nickname. Cruel, but kids are cruel, you know.
What makes his answer stand out is that he does not sound angry. He looks back at school like a place where everyone was trying to survive socially, even if some kids did it by tearing others down.
Necessarily, they're just pushing their boundaries socially, and they're trying to work out where they fit and where everyone else around them fit, and especially in boarding school.
Then he adds the part most people do not want to admit. Bullies are often carrying damage too. It does not excuse them, but it makes the story more complicated. The kid they mocked became Superman and still chose to see the bigger picture.
One of the terrible things about bullies is that they're bullies for a reason. And it's probably because they're getting bullied, and from a far more dangerous place than a kid.
That was compassion with a scar, but the next story is quieter. No comeback, no clash, just a young girl finding the place where nobody could shrink her.
Yes, Stren, but I heard you had an awkward teen moment. It wasn't always as smooth for you as it seemed.
Natalie Dormer's story hits softly because it starts so young. At that age, you do not always understand why people are cruel. You just know they have decided something about you is wrong.
You know, I was bullied very badly at school. From quite young. In Britain, we call it primary school. So kind of like, you know, around like 8, 9, 10, and then into high school. Of course, it was really hard. And when you're a kid or a teenager, you think your whole world is your school and your town. It feels like the whole universe before. And, you know, I think just talking about it helps people.
Right.
You know?
Well, I was definitely bullied, and it was kind of the worst experience of my childhood.
She turned that pain into a way out. Creativity became her escape, and that pattern keeps repeating. The thing people mock often becomes the exact thing that makes a star unforgettable.
Singing and rapping, it's like I found that this whole world existed where all the black sheep, the mavericks, the oddballs, that circle come together, and then you finally find your creative voice and your niche in the world. And that's when I really then started to find ironically, like by playing other people, I found myself.
And speaking of being told you do not fit, the next story is brutal, because this actress was not just bullied by classmates. She was made to feel like even her dream had a body type. Before the world knew her face, Kate Winslet was fighting to be seen in rooms that kept making her feel wrong. Not untalented, not lazy, just wrong for the dream she wanted.
Auditions. I didn't get that many auditions back then, and it was tough. I never got the parts. I tried so hard to get them, but I never got them, and I was always comparing myself to others. You see,
The cruelty was personal. Her body, her looks, her dream, all of it became something people felt free to comment on. And that is what makes it so nasty. They were not just teasing her, they were trying to shrink her.
They called me blubber. They teased me for wanting to act, locked me in the cupboard, laughed at me. I wasn't the prettiest. I've always had big feet. And I was even told that I might be lucky in my acting if I was happy to settle for the fat girl part.
What makes this hurt more is how those words got inside her head. She started judging herself through their eyes. That is the dangerous part. A bully can leave the room, but their voice can stay behind.
Oh, never let go. And they would say, you're just not really what we're looking for, Kate. And so I'd hear that a lot. And so these comments about how I looked started to crop up, and I'd never really dared to think about how I looked before. But this unkindness made me feel truly horrendous. I felt I wasn't enough. I wasn't good enough. I didn't look right. And all because I didn't fit into someone else's idea of perfect. I didn't have the perfect body, and I would rarely hear anything positive. So I started to feel uncomfortable.
For a moment, it almost worked. The noise got loud enough to make her question the one thing she loved most. But even then, the dream did not die. It kept pulling her forward.
It's hard. I wanted to give up. Maybe I should rethink this acting thing, I said to myself. But it was my passion, and it made me happy. And surely nobody can take my happiness away. So I had to rise above it. I had to dig deep, be strong, because deep down I wanted to play Sandy in Grease, and I wanted to be Annie.
So she kept going, and that is the real punchline. The people who made her feel too much, too wrong, or not enough, ended up watching her become everything they said she could not be.
I didn't lock myself away and give up on my dream. I fought back. I had to ignore the negative comments. I had to believe. You have to be indestructible to do what you love and believe that you are worth it.
Then life gave her the cleanest setup. No reunion, no speech, just one old bully, one beauty counter, and a comeback too good to waste. This moment feels almost too perfect because it sounds like a movie scene. On Running Wild with Bear Grylls, Kate opened up about body image and how damaging it is when young girls only hear what is wrong with them.
And so I stand in front of the mirror and say to Mia, we are so lucky that we've got a shape. We're so lucky we're curvy. We're so lucky that we've got good bums. And she'll say, Mummy, I know, thank God. Brilliant. And so I do think to myself, okay, maybe it's really working, that thing that I've been doing.
Then the story narrows in. The comments. The appearance digs. The girl who knew exactly where to hit. It was not random teasing. It was the kind of targeted cruelty people remember for years.
I was bullied quite a lot at school, actually. I think probably because, well, I was chubby. I always had big feet, the wrong shoes, the wrong hair, bad hair. Pedro, I think you're right. When I grew up, I never heard positive reinforcement about body image from any female in my life. I only ever heard negatives.
Then comes the delicious part. After Titanic, she sees that same girl at a beauty counter and walks right into it. No screaming, no breakdown, just a thank you with teeth.
And have you ever seen those people who were tough on you at school?
I did actually. I did bump into that awful girl after I'd become successful, after Titanic. And she was working on a beauty counter in a department store. Wow. It was a great moment.
Well, what goes around comes around.
Oh, yeah. Karma. I do believe in that.
That was controlled fire. But the next story is survival mode. No beauty counter, no perfect comeback. Just years of getting hit and learning to hit back with words.
I felt like I was being attacked.
Like you were being singled out.
I was being singled out, and I felt like, is it because of the color of my skin? Is it because of that you're paying more attention?
Before Eminem became the name everyone knew, Marshall was the new kid over and over again. And being the new kid made him easy to target. School was not just uncomfortable, it became something he had to brace for.
Formative. He was a shy kid in tough public schools and was frequently bullied. You got beat up a lot as a kid.
Yeah, there was a lot of instances that I would.
You got beat up coming home from school.
Beat up in bathroom, beat up in the hallways, shoved in the lockers, just for the most part, man, just being the new kid with that. And I finally found something that, yeah, this kid over here, he may have more chicks, like he may have better clothes or whatever, but he can't do this like me. You know what I mean? He can't write.
But somewhere in that chaos, rap gave him something different. A voice, a place to hit back without using his fists. And for the first time, He felt people actually listening instead of laughing.
That respect was hard-won. He was often the only white guy competing in underground clubs like this one.
Did you feed off the fact that people maybe underestimated you or didn't respect you early on?
Definitely. I think that, there was certainly like a rebellious, like youthful rage kind of.
Then came another wall. He walked into a world that questioned his place, but every doubt only sharpened him. Every "you can't" became another reason he would.
The no getting away from fact that I am white, and this is predominantly black music, and people telling me you don't belong, like you're not gonna succeed because you're this color, then you want to show those people that, that you can and you will.
Room of his home.
You almost died.
Yeah, definitely.
How close do you think you were to dying?
They said 2 hours. If I would have got to the hospital 2 hours later, that would have been it. Because my organs, everything, my kidneys, everything were failing.
And the wildest part? One of his worst bully stories became a song. Then the bully tried suing him for $1 million and lost. That is not just a comeback. That is trauma leaving receipts forever.
Way before my baby daughter Haley, I was harassed daily by this fat kid named D'Angelo Bailey, an 8th grader who acted obnoxious cause his father boxed us, so every day he'd shove me in the lockers. One day he came in the bathroom while I was pissing and had me in the position to beat me into submission. He banged my head against the urinal till he broke my nose.
To give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I know.
All right, thank you, sir. You may put your hand down. Sir, what is your name?
Marshall Mathers.
And Mr.
That was rage turned into rap. But the next story hurts differently. No fists, no court case, just being left out until loneliness became lyrics.
Here I am at 20, and I'm still saying that when I go through tough times. So it's like, that.
Taylor Swift's story works because it is painfully normal. Not every bully moment is loud. Sometimes it is being left out again and again, until silence starts to feel like the only seat saved for you.
With music, that's where I can say whatever. I mean, I remember when I was in school, the whole reason I started writing songs was because I was alone a lot of it.
So she wrote. That loneliness became her weapon. The girl left outside the circle turned it into songs, and instead of chasing apologies, her career became the answer everyone had to hear.
I'd sit there in school and I'd be hearing people like, oh my God, this party we're going to is going to be so...
But here is the part that makes it deeper. Fame does not always erase the old version of you. Sometimes you can be in the brightest room on earth and still feel like the kid nobody invited.
And about having your best friend be your guitar. And those were some lonely times for her, but out of it was born this songwriting life that she...
This 60 Minutes clip shows the part fame cannot always fix. The world can call you powerful, but the old outsider feeling can still sit quietly underneath.
It's interesting that in your songs, you're still the outsider. With all the success.
Yeah.
Her answer feels almost too honest. School can stamp a feeling onto you early. So even in the front row, even with cameras flashing, part of her still does not feel like the cool kid.
I think you kind of get set in how you feel when you're in school. I could be sitting in the front row at an award show and I still don't feel like a cool kid.
To this day. And you are the cool kid now.
Then her mom gives the backstory. Taylor made choices that did not fit the crowd, and people mocked her for it. The exact thing that made her different also made her lonely.
Yeah.
In fact, it was a choice that really, it defined her, and unfortunately because of that, she really did get a lot of teasing and a lot of ridicule.
But that is the final twist. The missed invites, the quiet nights, the outsider feeling, the guitar instead of a group, all of it became songs. And those songs became a career nobody could ignore.
How much of that has been central to her songwriting? You feel a lot of that in her songs.
Oh, absolutely, and it's pivotal. You still see that in her music today.
Yeah.
That there's that sort of underlying, a little bit of insecurity that is still there. it will never go away. Absolutely. It gave her the very first songs that she wrote were about those things, about being left out of social situations and about being alone.
And that is the thing about all of these moments. Nobody in this video was supposed to make it. They were the weird kid, the chubby kid, the one eating alone, the one carrying a headshot in the hood, the one literally thrown in the trash. And somehow, every single one of them showed up anyway. Because the best revenge was never the perfect comeback line. It was the career, the Grammy, the red carpet, the sold-out stadium, the moment their name became bigger than the insult. So which moment hit you the hardest? And which celebrity handled their bully the best? Drop it in the comments below. And if you enjoy seeing the real, awkward, and unforgettable side of Hollywood, hit like, subscribe, and stick around for the next one.